work session item tonight. At the last commission meeting, Commissioner Estrop asked if I would provide just a quick update on the status of the fire station projects. So as you know, with the American Rescue Plan Act, we were able to secure additional dollars into the city from the federal government, and looking at the guidance and the guidelines, we were able to establish that one of the things that we could address as a community was our aging infrastructure in terms of our fire stations. Currently, our newest station was built and opened in 1981, so quite some time. As you can imagine, a lot has changed in the fire service since 1981. Both in terms of equipment and apparatus and being able to fit that equipment in there. Most recently, Selma Road Station, or Station 3, was closed. One of the issues that we were faced with that station was the door height. And we actually only had one piece of apparatus that really fit well into that door because of the lower door height. And most of the manufacturers of new trucks had said that they really did not recommend or support building or modifying an engine to fit into that station. And so that's a great example of, again, just that aging infrastructure that we had. Also, the diversification of our workforce, as we have seen certainly a lot more females enter into the fire EMS service, and which is great. But again, back in 1981 and even before then, it was a predominantly male-dominated profession, and so stations were built really not to accommodate both genders, and so that's an issue. There's shared bunk rooms, shared bathroom facilities, and so forth, and you really trust the lock when you're faced in that situation, hoping that lock of that door stays. And so we're able to address both of those issues with the construction of these new stations. By one, building stations that can accommodate modern apparatus and equipment, as well as creating an environment that's more conducive for a diversified workforce. So the first station that we started on was the South Limestone Station, or as you see on the screen there, Station 2 is what number it will hold when it opens up. And that is a unique station because we have a unique partnership that's been established with Clark State College. So as you know, for many years, we've utilized Clark State College as our fire academy and have had a great partnership with them. One of their needs was space. They needed some space for their apparatus and equipment, as well as some classroom and training space. And so we were able to partner together where we're going to be in a shared facility, which is very exciting. And so, as you can see, Station 2, which will be at the corner of South Limestone and East Auburn Avenue, will have 5 bays. The 3 bays there to the right of the screen would be for the City of Springfield Fire Division, and the 2 bays that you see with Clark State College above them would be for the college. And I'll show you an image here shortly that shows kind of that layout within the station and also the training space as well. And then the center offers us the opportunity for some training, ladder training, rope training, and so forth, because it has a mezzanine that looks out between both the Clark State side and the Springfield City side. So this is the view facing Limestone. This is the view from the rear, which would face out to Erie Avenue. And so what we are trying to do with all of our stations is make them drive through or pull through bay stations. So we don't have to back our apparatus back into the station. As you know, many of our stations, we have to actually hold up traffic to back the apparatus back into the respective bays. And so to the rear of the station, there'll be 2 entry points, one there to the left, Springfield Fire Division, as you see, and color-coded with the red brick and so forth, accenting the entrance there for our division. And then you see with the Clark State logo there to the right, their entrance into their classroom, training, and office space. Their bays will not be pull-through bays because they don't come and go as often, so it'll be easier for them to accommodate backing in to those bays. this shows just a rough layout, and I know you can't read the text that's on there. So the pinkish or salmon color that you see there, that is all City of Springfield space there. To the lower left of that salmon area, you see the individual bunk rooms. You see the individual bathroom areas. So each fire EMS personnel will have, when they sleep, they'll have their separate, almost think of it like a dorm room for them to be in. There's also separate quarters for the officer up to the far right there. Oftentimes the officer with their administrative responsibilities and duties needs that separate space for themselves. And then you see they're kind of in the middle of the bottom. I don't know if my clicker probably doesn't show up on the screen, but that is the common area or the kitchen. You see they have, kind of their lounge area, the kitchen table area for them to have their meals and so forth. And then to the very right is a dedicated fitness room. So also at most of our stations right now, obviously fitness is a big piece of the fire service. And so most of the stations, they have fitness equipment, but it's directly adjacent or outside in the bay area itself. So expose themselves to the diesel and the engines and all that. And so they will have each of the new stations will have a separate fitness or workout room for our personnel as well. You see around the bay area, you see some other salmon colored area. Those are the decontamination rooms, locker rooms, and so forth. Again, the idea in the modern fire service is try to keep as separate as possible those things that could be exposed to the fire, which brings on carcinogens and other things that could be hazardous. So keeping those out of the living quarters itself. So creating that clear separation.
Speak a little more about the decontamination. As I recall, the discussion are that given some of the modern building materials, unlike what it was 50 years ago, there are a lot more contaminants now, so we have to take additional steps to make sure our firefighters aren't back. Am I correct in all of that?
Yeah, certainly the different plastics and other building materials that have been introduced, composites and so forth, have different elements that could be expose our members to additional contaminants that maybe they weren't previously. And so, yes, the decontamination piece is huge in terms of trying to, again, separate the living piece of it to the work piece of it. So that is an advantage of building these new stations, that we can properly accommodate that and separate spaces. The blue and green areas, so the blue areas are specifically dedicated to Clark State. So I talked about their 2 bays, and then you see to the rear of the building or the Erie Avenue side are the office space for the Clark State program. The green areas are intended as common areas, for lack of better words. They'll be primarily on the Clark State side, but they, again, work with us through partnership. So you see the green to the very top right, that is the classroom or training room space that we'll have access to, and again, in partnership with Clark State and their training academy. And then the green that you see off to the left, that's the mezzanine level over by itself, and that just indicates the space. And again, there's access from both sides, from both bays. You can do some ladder training, you can do rope training, different training elements, and then also add some additional storage area as well. These are some very recent pictures, as recent as today, so just showing the construction that has gone on already at the site. So site work is complete. Really the last piece was we were waiting for a pole to be relocated that was owned by AT&T. As commonly found, there were Ohio Edison, Spectrum, and AT&T were all on that pole, so they all had to be individually moved. And then AT&T was able to come in and move the pole and shift the final piece there. So we were able to come in, finish all the storm and site work, At last commission meeting, or two commission meetings ago, you approved the GMP. And so here in the next couple weeks, you're going to start seeing that footer foundation start for the project and really see the building come up out of the ground. And again, this project is slated to be done by the end of 2023. So we hope by November, early December, we're able to hold a ribbon cutting for this new fire station. So moving on, we're also constructing 3 other stations. This station is located on the former BOMAG facility, which is located at the corner of Kenton and Burt. So the street that you see there is Kenton Street. This station will be a 4-bay station. The reason for that 4th bay is our partnership with Box 27. So as you know, Box 27 Associates has been a great partner in helping respond to fire scenes. They provide water and Gatorade and food when there are long events to our personnel. They also help. Their truck is equipped to fill our air tanks. So they're able to help us with that in terms of oxygen and so forth. So they really need a home, a dedicated space, and so they will be on that in space there. Will be Box 27, and then it'll accommodate so that they can fill the truck, the air tanks that they then fill our tanks with in the station and so forth. And again, similar style in terms of there's the green, the common areas, the common space with kitchen, fitness room, kind of living room, eating area, and then the blue up to the top left are the individual dorm rooms. So again, this will be individual bedrooms with individual bathrooms for privacy purposes. And this is the proposed schematic design of that. So this is actually the first time that this has been shown. So just some different angles of that station. So you'll see a trend across the next 3 stations on color scheme with that kind of dark gray and light gray with the red. Really stand out for our fire division in our community. But just a beautiful built structure for adding a great investment in these neighborhoods that we're building. Just another angle from the south and the east. And then this shows what I just talked about, the 4 bays, the area for them to be able to fill their tanks and so forth. But then you move to the kind of the living quarters of the house. You see the fitness room, the kitchen, the dorm rooms and so forth. And again, trying to separate that, the truck and equipment and the fire gear from the actual living quarters. So this is the station that is going to be built out on South Charleston Pike or State Route 41. So as you know, we're seeing a lot of growth to the east of our community. And right now our response times to that east, Prime Ohio 1, Prime Ohio 2, and what are going to be the residential areas are less than desirable for us. And so we want to improve that. So when we had the Ohio Fire Chiefs come in and run an analysis of our run times, our run volumes, and so forth, this was definitely indicated that out east was an area that we needed to invest in a station. And so this station here on the east side, again, fronts out to State Route 41. And again, you see all of them with the drive-through access, so we don't have to back in. This will be a 3-bay station. That's what our standard station would be. Box 27 is why we had the 4th bay. And then obviously the partnership with Clark State on South Lime is why we have 5 bays. But 3 bays is more than accommodating for the equipment that and apparatus that we run. What's unique about this station as well, you'll see it's set up very similar in terms of the dorm rooms, the individual dorm rooms, bathrooms, fitness area, kitchen space, living space. But up towards the right, you see the 2 spaces and the 1 ADA handicap parking space and then a couple entry points there. This is also because we're growing. Police have seen a strain on their resources as well in terms of just being out on the east end. If you're in District 2 for our police and you need to come back to headquarters just to use a computer or even use the bathroom, it's a long trek in. Not really efficient and effective use of time. So there will be a small kind of police substation added as a part of this station as a partnership. So again, out east, thinking strategically in the placement of our resources. So again, that we're providing the most efficient and effective service delivery to our community. Again, just showing some renderings of this, the 3 bays, same color scheme, couple views, and then this shows the interior of that station. So you can see more directly there to the bottom of the screen, kind of bottom middle, is that separate access point in that would be a separate dedicated space for our police. And then the final station I'll talk about that we're working on is the Zischler Street station. So if you're familiar with the Tim Hortons, or there's a gas station on the corner there, it sits back in kind of off of 40 there. And so this station will help us consolidate on the west end of our community. Will be a new station that includes 3 bays, as you can see, the drive-through or wraparound station. Again, very similar in terms of the individual dorm rooms, individual restroom facilities, fitness room, kitchen, living quarter space. And again, just a rendering looks very similar. And again, there's an economy of scale, obviously, by utilizing very similar building materials and so forth. So if, a set of doors goes out, we can purchase in bulk because we know we can use them at the other stations as well. And then that just shows the layout. So the other 3 stations, so that's the end showing that. The other 3 stations, so South Limestone will open up at the end of 2023 or by the end of 2023. As you can see, we're very far along in the design of the other 3 stations. Actually, in early May, we'll have the initial cost estimate from this schematic design to look at and review, and then start to make changes as needed. And then we hope by the end of the summer, we're able to lock in that guaranteed maximum price. And then in the fall of 2023, we would start construction on all 3. And the idea, we have the same contractor for all 3 stations, is, they can, again, an economy of scale for them, is they can come in one site, do the site work, move that crew over to the next site, while then their concrete crew comes in and does the work and puts in the footer foundation, and then goes to the next site and then the building and so forth. So it creates an economy of scales and efficient and effective manner for them to build these stations, with the goal that all 4 stations, so South Lime at the end of this year and the other 3 coming online by the end of 2024. So.
Quick question. You mentioned it would improve response time on the east side, but I think, if I remember correctly, by moving these stations, we in fact improve the response time citywide.
Yeah, so one of the things that we came in or looked at with the Ohio Fire Chiefs is looking at that, the run and response times. And so we had them kind of lay out and look at that and strategically locate the 4 new stations with the other 2 that will stay. So Station 1 and Station 7 that are on home. Now, over time, we're going to need to look at maybe adjusting the location of those 2 as well. And they'll need some improvements or new construction. And but these 4, we can run more efficiently and effectively with these 6 stations as opposed to 7 because of their placement.
Save us a little money in terms of upkeep of a 7th station.
Yes. Well, our model moving forward will be 6 stations.
Thank you.
Any other questions from Commission?
Yeah, great.
Is there a motion to adjourn the session for work session?
Moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Dr. Estrom?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Mr. Copeland?
Yes. Call to order the City Commission meeting. Clerk will call the roll.
Dr. Estrom?
Here.
Mr. O'Neill? Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Mr. Copeland?
Here. Please rise for the invocation and pledge of allegiance. Our God, we're grateful for this opportunity to make decisions for the people of Springfield. Help us to make them well and to improve our services to this community. In your name we pray. Amen. I pledge the flag, States of America, to the republic for which one nation, God, is
Yes, sir.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments from the commission? From the audience? Clerk will call the roll.
Phillips,
Yes.
Mr. Rue,
Yes.
Dr. Estrom,
Yes.
Mr. Copeland.
Yes. The clerk will proceed with first readings by title only. We will not be discussing or voting on them this evening.
Authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract for demolition services with Tony Smith, doing business as Tony Smith Wrecking and Trucking, for a period of 1 year with an option to renew for an additional 1-year period for an amount not to exceed $400,000. Confirming and approving change order number 1 to the contract with J.L. Cook General Contractors for the City Hall parking garage repairs and plaza redesign project to increase the contract in an amount not to exceed $120,688 for a total amount not to exceed $6,307,048.33. Authorizing the city manager to enter into an amendment number 4 to the agreement with Property Registration Champions LLC, ProChamp, to extend the contract period to February 11, 2024, and confirming and approving related services provided from February 11, 2023 to the effective date of this ordinance. Authorizing the city manager to enter into a sanitary sewer and water tap development incentive agreement with D.R. Horton, Indiana LLC for the development of a single-family residential subdivision within the city. Authorizing the city manager to accept a deed for donation of property located at 68 West Columbia Street from spring forward.
Any questions from commissioners?
Would you explain the DR sewer water tap, entry water?
I'll actually have Tom Franzen, our Assistant City Manager, talk about that.
Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners. This is related to a residential development on the east side. This is the site that's north of the Tuttle Road area where Walmart is on the south side. This is on the north side of that road. It's an acreage that we've seen several development plans here in the past. We've always thought that residential is the best use of that property. The applicant has made it through the CETA Plan Board. They still have the final plat that needs to be submitted. But this is an incentive that the city's offering. There's no tax increment financing involved in this project, which we've seen in some of our other residential projects. This was a way for the city to support the development. There is some increased cost associated with a lift station for that site. So the water and sewer credits is a way to help offset that and then get the construction of 110 new single-family homes. So a really nice development. D.R. Horton is a very well-respected residential developer across the country, one of the largest, and we're welcome to have them in our community.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Commissioner?
Yes, item 036-23. I was wondering if you might comment on what is involved in the change.
Yeah, so specifically this change order, which is related to the City Hall parking garage repairs and the plaza redesign project, are associated with prevailing wage requirements. So the American Rescue Plan Act does not require federal Davis-Bacon, but if your state has prevailing wage rates, then it falls under the state prevailing wage rates, which we did or included in the contract, but then the state came back and said a piece of it, because it involved the parking garage, fell under heavy highway, and so the contractor had to adjust their rates, which led to the increase.
Thank you very much.
Anything else from Commissioners? Okay. We'll move on to the second readings then.
Amending the zoning map of Springfield, Ohio by rezoning 10.833 acres on Middle Urbana Road, Springfield, Ohio, from RS5 Low Density Single Family Residential District to the Middle Urbana Planned Development District and adopting the regulations for the Middle Urbana Planned Development District.
Move.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from the commission? From the audience? Clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Dr. Estrad?
Yes.
Mr. Copeland?
Yes.
Confirming and approving a development incentive agreement, non-residential development with Gayatri 2 Drive-Through LLC to provide for sewer services to real property outside the city limit.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from the commission? From the audience? Clerk will call the roll.
Dr. Estrad?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Mr. Copeland?
Yes.
Adopting the 2023-2024 goals and objectives as discussed at the 2023 City Commission retreat.
So move.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from the commission?
I think it's important that the people understand that this is a process we've been engaged in now for about 5 to 6 years, where the commission at its retreat establishes specific goals and objectives to try to provide leadership to the staff to get a sense of where we're heading. We take this very seriously, and the staff is happy, I would say, to have some direction in terms of what are the expectations of the commission, what's important to the commission, and we've got a lot of work done under these goals and objectives, and I want to commend the staff for the work that you've done and are doing, and I also want to commend my colleagues for having the foresight to provide this kind of direction for our city. Thank you.
Anything else from commission? Anyone in the audience want to speak to this? Clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Dr. Estrad?
Yes.
Mr. Copeland?
Yes.
Confirming purchases and the obtaining of services for the city and providing for payments therefor and declaring an emergency therein.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from the commission? From the audience? Clerk will call the roll.
Dr. Estrad?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Mr. Copeland?
Yes.
Appropriating the interest in real property hereinafter described for the purpose of providing necessary rights in real estate needed for the public purpose of making and repairing roads which shall be open to the public without charge, to wit, the pavement reconstruction and resurfacing, curb and walk replacement, drainage improvements, and/or water and sewer infrastructure improvements on Yellow Spring Street between West Southern Avenue and Pleasant Street, and declaring an emergency therein.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from the commission? From the audience? Clerk will call the roll.
Dr. Estrad?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Mr. Copeland?
Yes.
Authorizing the city manager to accept a warranty deed for real property located on Titus Road from Sheets Incorporated for the purpose of dedication of public right-of-way and declaring an emergency therein.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from the commission? From the audience? Clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Dr. Estrad?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Mr. Copeland?
Yes.
Authorizing the acceptance of a firefighter exposure to environmental elements grant in an amount up to $4,655.20 from the Ohio Bureau of Workers' Compensation to be used for the purchase of 30 Inotech gray safety hoods and 15 pairs of Firecraft structural firefighting gloves for use by the Fire Rescue Division, authorizing an expenditure of up to $864.80 to be used as local matching funds, authorizing the city manager, finance director, law director, and fire chief to perform all acts and execute all documents they consider necessary to fulfill the city's obligations under said grant and to comply with all relevant local, state, and federal legal requirements and declaring an emergency therein.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Questions or comments from the commission? From the audience? Clerk will call the roll.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Mr. Copeland?
Yes. That concludes our agenda meeting. So now the audience can speak. Is there anything from the commission?
I do have just
Go
one
ahead.
announcement. Just wanted to let everybody know that due to the primary elections being held on May the 9th, the next city commission meeting will be on Monday, May 8th at 7 p.m. Again, the May 9th meeting will be bumped to the Monday, May 8th, due to primary elections. I hope everyone will be out voting on that Tuesday night.
Yes.
I would like to take this opportunity to thank everyone who came to the downtown cleanup. We had a very successful event, and I really appreciate the people of all ages who showed up to help clean up the downtown here in Springfield. Related to that, I've been asked to announce that our community cleanup day will be held this Saturday, April 29th, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. This is a free event that will allow City of Springfield residents to dispose of all unwanted household items such as trash, furniture, tires, and mattresses. There will be 2 locations to bring where you can bring these items. One at Jefferson Street next to the library, and another at the corner of Sunset Avenue and Delta Road. Again, those locations are Jefferson Street next to the library and the corner of Sunset Avenue and Delta Road. No chemicals, medical waste, pharmaceuticals, or non-residential waste will be accepted. So if you live outside of the city, I'm sorry, you can't participate in this. This event is only open to City of Springfield residents, so please bring proof of your residency like a driver's license. If you need more information, please call 937-324-7385. Again, that number is 937-324-7385. Last year, we filled over 40 dumpsters, if I remember correctly, and the goal this year is to fill 60. This is a real opportunity to clean up our community, to form neighborhood organizations that can work together on a certain neighborhood, or if you have individual stuff you need to get rid of, here's a way to get rid of it for free. So again, that's this Saturday, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Thank you.
Anything more, commissioners? Okay, then the audience may speak, and I have been asked to remind you that you have only up to 3 minutes to address, and you need to state your name and address for the record. Anyone want to speak to us?
My name is Mike Lowe. My address is on file. I have 2 comments. Is there going to be a limit on the number of tires that you can bring for Saturday?
I'm not aware of any limit. Steve's shaking his head no, so the answer is no.
Okay. The other thing is the fire station that's going to be on West North Street, since Ziegler is closed at the railroad, is that going to remain closed?
Yes, that will remain closed.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Rue?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Dr. Estrop?
Yes?
Mr. Copeland?
Yes, meeting is adjourned.
You get ice cream.